welcome to the Red Menace International Edition. I'm not going to say that every single time, but it's still novel to me at the moment.
It is still quite novel.
My name's Chris Bolson.
And I'm Alison Hall.
This week, only one of us is in Australia, but I'm very excited to announce to all of our many listeners, seeing as it's now Monday, that we have a new Prime Minister or the same Prime Minister, one of the two.
Unfortunately, we are recording this 2 days before the election, so we don't exactly know how it's going to pan out at this point.
My big prediction is Penny Wong's going to win it. Is that she's going to win the Prime Ministership in a late in the game backstab. Penny Wong will swing to the podium and take the Prime Ministership by force.
And just like Tarzan, right in, land on the podium, kick whoever's standing there away.
Well, here's what I'm thinking, is that Penny Wong sees the election happens, and let's say it doesn't go well, and then she back to the futures herself, back before the election. And then she has to do...
Okay, that sounds like a really reasonable idea.
Yeah, she then has to... I recently saw the bad Harry Potter play, which is why I thought of this. She has to sort of try and fix the election, but it doesn't quite work.
She has to stop Voldemort's daughter being born.
Yeah. She accidentally creates a Voldemort world out of the Australian election, and then she has to go back in time and learn about the importance of family. And it's a really moving story, I think, but it's really funny and just it's really exciting and also 5 hours long.
Yeah. And it goes over just as well as the new Game of Thrones episodes have been, you know.
Oh, that's been very
Everyone
fun.
loves it.
Everyone loves it, and as someone who has historically been... I don't know if a fan is the right term, but I watch the show. It's,
A viewer.
A viewer,
You have been
accurate.
an audience of the show.
I'm of two minds, because it is garbage trash from a toilet right now. But at the same time, I've never felt more like part of a community than I do right now.
Sure.
When everyone in the world is
Here's the thing, I've never watched an episode.
You wouldn't like it.
Because I believe I wouldn't like it, but now everyone hates it, so I feel like I belong.
That's fair. The problem is that
I'm not a leper anymore, you know.
No, that's true. Well, most people hate a quarter of it and like 3/4 of it.
So if I can say, what they did to Daenerys is bullshit. So now,
if
basically...
you can learn to pronounce her name correctly, then yes, you can.
Daenerys? Daenerys?
I'm not going to tell you because this is much more fun for me. I just want to recount...
I'm going with Daenerys.
I want to recount a story from when I saw the bad Harry Potter play.
Sounds like a good story to recount.
That's my official review, by the way, is that it's bad.
Well, we have had an official Harry Potter review previously on this, and it was unfortunately the same.
It's also... That's true. We've got a real recurring theme of seeing the Harry Potter expanded universe media and hating it immediately.
Yeah.
My first response when I was told that the play was I was going to it, and then the next sentence I was told about the runtime, and I was just like, how long? Because
sorry, how long is it?
There's 5 hours of play.
I'm sorry?
It's a considerable amount of play.
I've never seen a play that long.
It's not the fucking Godfather. It doesn't need the runtime.
3 hours? 3 hours?
Still
reasonable. Because then you have an hour and a half, and then you go to the toilet, and you have your choc top, and then you sit down for another hour and a half, and it's a good experience.
Yeah, it's like that, but you do it twice, and you have dinner in the middle.
Oh.
But anyway, point was, during this play, I noticed that they had a fairly, as I'm sure you can predict, elaborate merch table.
Yes.
And I saw on this merch table that there were replicas of the wands from Harry Potter, and I was like, if I'm going to buy any of this, I'll buy the wand. Then I looked at the price of the wand. Then I messaged my wonderful partner Jessica saying, do you want a wand? And then I saw the prices of the wands, which is $65 a pop.
Oh, boy!
Then Jessica responded to the text after I saw that saying, yeah, that'd be super cool, actually. And I thought,
no, Chris, what have you done?
Then I went, well, fuck. Well, now I have to buy a wand, don't I? Then I went...
Just what you should have done is gone outside and got a stick and then sanded it down a little, and then given it to her and say it's bespoke.
Then I went up to the counter and I talked to the Harry Potter shop lady, and I pointed at the glass cabinet of wands and I said, "I'll have a wand, please." And she was like, "Which kind of the many variants of wand do you want?" And this might shock you to learn. So you had to
explain the shape.
I just pointed at it and said, "I want that one."
I want that one.
Because it was the one that had the most distinct sort of handle and it looked the wandiest. And then she said, "Oh, that's the Ron Weasley wand. Is that the one you want?" And I thought, fuck me. Typical.
Oh, no. Why have you done that?
And so I now have in front of me a Ron Weasley wand. Because I gave it to Jess when she came over. And she was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then she left it here. So
now you've got a Ron Weasley wand.
Now I've got a Ron wand.
Now it belongs to you for now.
It is. And I'll say this, it was not worth $65. But,
can you do magic with it?
I can do the magic of making my bank balance go down.
Yeah, that's a pretty good magic.
Yeah. I'm really good at that magic in a lot of situations.
Yeah, me too. I would say that that's probably the kind of magic that I excel in, really.
Yeah, some people can fly, some people can cast cool spells. I can just burn
I can make my... Yeah, absolutely.
Burn away. Do you have a story right you want to start us off with?
Well, speaking of money, hey, this is probably a story that you're well aware of. Here we go. So, did you hear about the $50 note?
I did not. The election has made me so exhausted by the news. Ironically, I'm a pretty politically active person. Ironically, for the last fortnight, I've barely read the news. So I genuinely don't know what's going on.
Well, that's okay.
So I'm very excited by this.
Before I get into this story, right, let me regale you with a story of how I was reminded that this story existed. Because this story is actually from last week.
Oh.
Exactly last week. However, the other day I was just walking around town in Jogjakarta, which is where I currently am, and a random guy started chatting to me and my friend who I was out with, and he was like, we got talking and he's asking what I do. And I'm like, well, because here's the thing, right? No one knows who I am, so I can say I'm like a serious journalist and they won't actually question that, so that's good. And then he was like, "Oh, I read the news from Australia about the $50 note." So this is a news that has made it to around the world about the Australian $50 note.
I genuinely don't know what this story is.
I'll read you this headline. So I chose to get this from the South China Morning Post just to show you how international this story has in fact gone.
Okay.
So the headline goes, Australia printed 46 million new banknotes. They all contain a spelling mistake.
Dipshits! For fuck's sake! Oh my god.
Oh dear.
I know you're not allowed to comment on it, but this country is run by fucking idiots. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm being silenced by the man for the next year.
Oh
but
my god.
You're allowed to say what you...
Morons.
Now, this was... Okay, so this story came out last week because someone found out last week. When do you reckon these notes were printed?
I feel like it's either a month ago or a year ago, and no one...
yeah, it was somewhere between that. It was October last year.
Oh my god.
So it says the note came into circulation on October 18th, 2018, with new security features designed to deter counterfeiting. Millions of Australian $50 banknotes in Australia have an embarrassing typographical error that was overlooked by the country's central bank before they were printed and circulated. This is my favourite line. The goof first became known on Thursday when a listener on radio outlet Triple M sent the station a magnified photo of the Reserve Bank of Australia's new $50 note, highlighting the word responsibility, misspelt as responsibility 3 times.
Three times? That's impressive.
3 times!
So they got it stuck in their autocorrect and they've never been able to fix it, so they were just
I like to imagine they're typing the text for the note on their iPhone.
That would not shock me.
One time, would be kind of like, okay, that's just a little goof. But 3 times on the one thing.
We citizens of Australia have a great responsibility to make sure that everything, our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. And we remove one of the I's from every one of our words.
We don't need 3 I's in there. We just need 2, because that's how many I's humans have.
Let's be fair, though. 3 is overkill.
3 is a bit too many.
Responsibility. That's a ridiculous word. Responsibility? I can get behind that. That rolls off the tongue.
But I would prefer it like responsibility, because that sounds a bit cute.
Responsibity. I like responsibity. What if we just take all of the vowels out? Responsibity.
What is this?
This is
just
great
making
comedy.
random sounds. You know what it reminds me of? In the extra features for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the episodes where Dennis and Dee are making a podcast and they're just making the sound effects. That's basically what we've become.
Do you think our listeners, our millions of listeners who are like heartbroken about our hiatus, are going to come back and hear us going and think and just be like, yeah, it's like a warm bath of shit.
I'm so glad I waited an extra week for this content.
Wonderful material.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
we
absolutely
just have
what's
to
going
get
to happen.
warmed up, so give us another 6 months and we'll get back to peak form.
Well, I'm quite warm. I don't know about you over there in the great land of Oz.
Warm emotionally, but cold physically.
Okay, well, that's fair. I'm warm emotionally and physically.
Disgusting.
So it says, the new and improved $50 note came into circulation on October 18, 2018, with the new security features designed to deter counterfeiting and with a tactile elements for the visually impaired.
I like the way they keep saying it's like security features designed to reduce counterfeiting, but they don't say what they are. Like, is it like one of those things where if you bend it the wrong way, ink shoots out of it, like the things in the
absolutely.
shops?
That's what happens. And it's got like one of those giant tags attached to it that you need to go up to the counter and get removed.
You have to take it to the bank to get the tag removed every time you want to buy something.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the 2 options. You can pay for stuff via Apple Pay or by going to the bank and getting the tag taken off of each note individually. And you do
or
have
Western
to purchase...
Union, because
or
Western Union Western Union is very legit, you know.
I feel like one day the problem is going to be that I'm going to be like, get told about this super cool Thai restaurant, and I'm going to go there and they'll be like, no, I'm sorry, we only take the tags off of the $50 notes. Can you please give us some of the tags that you've removed from the $50 notes if you want to eat
exactly,
the food here?
exactly. I like how you mentioned Thai restaurant, because Thai restaurants are the ones which make it very difficult to pay most of the time.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't pay their taxes.
Let's not go there. So the note has a picture of Edith Cohen, and the quote, which is repeated over and over on the banknote, reads, it is a great responsibility to be the only woman here, and I want to emphasise the necessity which exists for other women being here. And that's repeated 3 times, hence why responsibility.
Responsibility. It sounds like responsibility, and I like the idea of a very responsible bilby. Because we all know that bilbies are like, they're mischievous. Everybody knows that. But if you get a responsible, upstanding citizen bilby, that's a bilby to hold on to.
Now, the update from this story is that, in fact, it is going to be accepted as a legitimate currency if you have the typoed $50 note.
I want to know the press release for this. There was just like, guys, we fucked up, and look, we're sorry. Listen. We're sorry, we get it. But we also can't take it back. We printed so many of these.
We printed so many. And it took until, half a year later when
How did it take 6 months for us to notice that?
Right? And when it was some random caller for Triple M radio.
How did that not
was the
blow
one
up
who
from
found this?
That seems like the kind of thing that would blow up from like a Reddit post, not like a Triple M radio caller.
Yeah, who calls into the radio to tell them about its typo on a $50 note?
Australian Reddit people, I'm disappointed in you for not noticing. I didn't notice because I don't have cash because I'm poor. But there are those rich ones of you that use the internet and use... Maybe it's just because no one uses cash. Only Triple M listeners use cash these days.
That's a very good point. This guy really missed an opportunity to make a viral tweet where he could plug his podcast.
That's true.
And now that opportunity's gone, and now he's just a listener on radio outlet Triple M.
Oh God!
He's not...
What would a Triple M podcast, radio listeners podcast be like?
I don't want to know. It would be like a very angry one about modern music.
It would
Any
just be
music that is newer than 1990 would be an abomination.
It would all be about how Queen is the greatest band ever made, and that they were only able to exist thanks to coal.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It would just... I can't think of a funny name for it, but it would not be very good.
And they'd play Scott Morrison covers of random classic rock songs.
Oh, no!
Scott Morrison karaoke covers. That's what they'll play.
Can I present a story? So,
of course you can.
This is a story that comes from a very different source than our usual stories. This is not a local news story. This is not in our avoir at all. But it is the best shit I've ever read, and I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
Well, I'm glad.
So I initially found this story, and I will be reading the copy from stereogum.com music website.
Okay.
So this was... I'll just start from... So this is written by Tom Brahan, who is one of my favourite music journalists. He's great. One time I emailed him asking for an interview, and he ignored me, but that's neither here nor there.
Wow. Just roasting him.
Yeah. To be fair,
Name and shame.
To be fair, I got his name wrong, so that's probably on me.
Yeah, that's kind of on you.
The headline is, Liquid Death is canned water for straight edge punks.
I read this.
You're familiar with this?
Yes, it's great.
So I
can relate very much to the desire to have liquid death.
I really enjoy the copy in this article. I think it's extremely good.
I'm excited to hear the copy.
There is obviously nothing in this world more punk rock than a Netflix exec getting $1.6 million from tech investors for his canned water company. That is some serious motherfucking hardcore shit.
Yeah.
Liquid Death, a new company that sells bottled water in tallboy cans, is about to open this pit up. That seems to be the pitch anyway. Earlier this week, Business Insider published a story on Mark Cesario, a former Netflix creative director who's starting a new company called Liquid Death. Liquid Death is just plain water, but it's in cans, and it's announcing to the world that nothing's better than murdering your thirst.
What a great product line.
I know. The Liquid Death cans look like they're intended for some microbrew IPA, but Cesario says that his idea is to market them specifically to straight-edge punks, as opposed to whole food yoga mums.
Well, whole food yoga mums are absolutely going to drink it.
No, I don't know what you'd put on... They drink regular water from like a small African village, or a Voss bottle, or like a...
They drink thank you water from Cotton On.
There we go, that works. Initially, some of our thinking was we wanted to take more inspiration from the beer category, because one thing we know in marketing is if you want younger people to want something, you have to market it to people in their 20s, because teens want the thing that they can't have.
That's a very valid point. And 30-year-olds want to pretend they're still in their 20s.
So if you aim at 20-year-olds, the teens want to do the illegal thing, and the 30-year-olds want to get away from the existential dread, so they drink the beer water.
That's a very good point.
At first, we knew the easiest crowd for us is anyone into heavy metal, punk rock, and that kind of world, because they immediately get the joke and the humour, and we have never seen anything like it. What makes this appealing for such a large group is that it feels like a niche thing. Oh, I love his explaining how marketing works.
Yeah. Just in case that, like, us dummies don't know.
Because Cesario also says that aluminium cans are more environmentally friendly than plastic bottles, and that Liquid Death will donate 5 cents from the sales of every can to the environmental causes. This he explains.
Okay.
I think that's quite cool. This he explains
that's quite cool.
is also very punk rock. If you think about it...
Supporting the environment is incredibly punk rock.
If you think about it, it makes sense. Everything metal and punk is extreme. Being vegan is extreme. Protesting the deforestation is extreme. There are more vegans at a heavy metal show than a Taylor Swift show. We are by far
that's a very valid point.
We are by far the most sustainable option for packaged water, which is a big driver for why people want to buy from us. Not gonna lie, this is making me want to buy Liquid Death, which is disturbing.
Yeah, where can I buy it? Where can I buy Liquid Death? This marketing is working.
Right?
As someone who is bordering 30 and wants to retain my youth, and also, wasn't emo in my youth, I kind of feel the need to have this because emos want to pretend to be punks.
Exactly.
30-year-olds want to pretend to be 20-year-olds, so it works.
So then they just talk about how they made a shit ton of money. And then the closing paragraph is, this is clearly the dumbest shit that any of us have ever seen. But if this...
It's true, but also I want it.
Yeah.
And that's the bad thing.
That's the marketing works. But if this ends up resulting in a bunch of sponsored free punk and metal shows, then fine, I guess. Someone needs to pick up the slack now that Scion's not doing that anymore. So he makes an excellent point, which is that, this is going to get some music, some exposure. And I suppose it is, environmentally friendly bottled water.
Yeah, sure.
The aesthetic is terrible. I can't stress that enough. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. And this is the wankiest thing in existence. But it's also good somehow.
But also somehow I want to buy it.
Yeah. So that's Liquid Death, everybody.
Marketing works.
Yeah. Give them...
That's capitalism for you.
Make the rich richer and buy water in beer cans. Do you have another story for me?
I'll give you a choice of stories because I actually have 4 left, which we may not have time to go through them all. So let's have a choice. So we've got crime, we've got wildlife, we've got politics, and we've got cuisine.
Wildlife.
Wildlife?
Yeah, let's get back to the
Alright.
basics. That's our classic shit, is wildlife.
Just jumping right into this nature story.
Hell yeah.
And this is by Science Alert.
That's a cool name for a thing.
Now, before we did talk about 3 eyes, which I feel like is quite relevant to this story, which I'm about to jump into.
Okay.
But not in terms of spelling, in terms of eyes, I suppose.
Why do I get the feeling this is going to be extremely disturbing just based on that intro?
Well, yeah, probably. It depends if you consider it disturbing or cute. It's kind of between the two.
Okay.
So this is by Peter Dockrell for Science Alert, and the headline goes, "A 3-eyed snake has been discovered in a small Australian town."
That's actually dope. All right.
That's very dope, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a cool boy. And there's a nice picture of the boy up the top, and he does indeed have 3 eyes.
What does the third one do?
It looks, I suppose.
You can already see in 3 dimensions. Does a third eye make you see in more dimensions?
It makes you see through people's souls. See through time.
Yeah,
you
if
can
you get
see
a third
through
eye,
time.
you can see time. How fucking cool would that be?
Now, the unfortunate thing is snakes can't talk. So we can't ask the snake, hey, what does it look like to be able to see through time?
Maybe we can teach it really elaborate sign language that it can make with its own, its body. Because it doesn't have hands either.
Yeah.
Because it's a snake. The snake form factor is an issue.
Make a spiral if you can see through time.
And then it just curls up and we're like, yes, time snake.
Yes, you can see through time. But I really like the way that this story is written in this particular publication. So this is from the 2nd of May. And Peter writes, "You can find snakes in Australia pretty much anywhere. At the beach, on your car.
At any time.
At any time, anywhere. But this 3-eyed slitherer discovered in the Northern Territory is obviously all kinds of special. Found by rangers near a small town called Humpty Doo, just outside of Darwin." That's
what?
the real Humpty Doo. What a ridiculous name.
A 3-eyed snake, a time snake could only come from Humpty Doo. That's that's correct.
A snake that can see through time, of course, has come from Humpty Doo. Now, on one of the other headlines, it just says, like, a three-eyed snake from Humpty Doo. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like a real thing. But it is a real thing. It's a real thing that happened. It says, the three-eyed carpet python looks to be sporting 3 fully functioning eyes, with an abnormal surplus eye sprouting from the top of its scaled forehead.
That's so fucking cool. Oh my god. I want to be a triclops.
Me too. That'd be cool. If I could see through time.
I would either never have sex again, or it would be the other way and people would be super into it. So, like...
I think there'd be people who would be super
I think
into
people
that.
would be super into my triclops look.
There'd be a good deal of people who would have that as their fetish.
Plus, I'd be able to see through time, so I could just Groundhog Day that shit. And just, like, do everything perfectly every time.
Now, the fun thing about this snake is it's got, like, an extra mound on the head where the third eye is. So it looks like a really cool bumpy snake on its head.
Ooh.
It's very fun. It says, the article goes on to talk more about this, and it says, from time to time we see snakes with polycephaly in the wild, the condition of having 2 separate heads. But the rangers don't think that's the case here. The subsequent x-ray of the reptile revealed Monty, as the rangers nicknamed him, doesn't have 2 separate heads forged together, but rather one skull featuring a bonus eye socket, giving the python a handy, vertically oriented peeper.
So it can see up at all times. That's so good.
Yeah, exactly.
It will never get shat on by a bird ever.
Yeah,
That's
this is the next stage of serpent evolution.
But
they can see up at all times.
It would be at midday he has to go inside because otherwise he stares directly into the sun and he can't stop.
Oh no, the poor boy.
Yeah.
Now, like, I'm just imagining, you know, this could be perhaps the case here. I'm not sure. I'm not making any accusations about Monty, but he could find it very easy to look up people's skirts if he wanted to.
Oh, Monty, don't do that.
I hope he doesn't. I'm not giving you any ideas, Monty.
If you can see through time, I feel like you can see through clothes. Like, I think he doesn't need to do that.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't need to, like, use his vertically oriented peeper to look up people's skirts. He can just, like, look directly into their soul.
Like, to him, we're just ants, you know? Like, we exist in one time, and he exists always. So, like, I don't see why... He wouldn't be interested in looking up anyone's skirts because he can look into the cosmos.
Yeah, well, that's true. He can see God himself. So Monty...
I think Monty might be God, actually. I think the time snake might be God.
Well, that could be true.
Or God, at least.
There's nothing to prove he's not, so... It's pretty amazing. But here's the sad thing. Monty, in fact...
Allison?
...has died.
Alice, no! No!
Yeah.
Monty!
Yeah.
No!
I know!
Oh, my beautiful
It was
boy.
foreseen. I know, it's quite depressing.
It was the one thing he couldn't see. It was his own demise. Monty.
Rip Monty. This is why, like, I'll read this last little bit and then I'll get to the final line of the article, because the final line of the article, I believe, says it better than I could myself. Sadly, while the all-seeing third eye might have enabled Monty various advantages during his lifetime, like spying threats from above, it was also ultimately the end of him. The snake was discovered in March, but died last week while only a juvenile. It's remarkable it was able to survive so long in the wild with its deformity, and he was struggling to feed before he died last week, Ranger Ray Chotto told NT News. And this is the last line, very profound. Rip Monty, we can only wonder at the things you saw.
Do you think when...
Rest in peace.
When one three-eyed creature dies, another one is born, like the Avatar? Like, another one just...
for sure.
So there's like a three-eyed gecko out there somewhere, and after that gecko dies, there'll be a three-eyed koala, which will be the chillest fucking
Well, since every gecko
ever.
in the world exists outside my room in the nighttime right now, I can probably find it.
You can probably find Monty outside. Find the time gecko.
He probably is it. Because here's the thing, right? It's the same being. A being that powerful cannot simply cease to exist.
No, it just gets reborn into a new form.
Yeah. it's the only explanation, really.
Same
So
soul, different body, 3 eyes always. Here's the problem. I think that time powers are wasted on a snake. Like, give time powers to, like, a dolphin. That dolphin's going to end world hunger. Give them to an elephant. Like,
I don't think the dolphin will end world hunger. I think the dolphin will probably use its powers for bad.
Actually, that's true. Dolphins are horny motherfuckers, so I don't trust
Dolphins
what a dolphin
are
would do.
bastards. I don't want to know what a dolphin would do with its superpowers.
Okay, let's go elephant then. I feel like an elephant is a
Yeah, an
peaceful
elephant
creature.
would be quite like a... I think it's quite a humble creature.
I trust an
I
elephant
think an elephant...
with time powers.
Me too. Me too. I would trust an elephant.
They're
I wouldn't
wise.
trust a dolphin.
No, dolphins are sneaky little fuckers.
Mm.
You can't. You look at their sideways eyes. You want an extra... Plus, it would have to go on the blowhole spot, and that's going to be really difficult because it will eventually blow up.
Now, do you know what I would trust? I would trust a shark because I feel like their motivations are very clear. They just want to eat. you
Okay,
know?
Alison, but do
It
you
just
want
wants to eat.
I wouldn't trust a shark, especially a shark with time powers, because it's literally inescapable.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a good thing for the
You
ocean.
swim
Maybe
to the
humans
left.
need to get out of the ocean.
You swim to the left and it's already there. It knows where you're going to be.
Now it can warp, can it?
The time shark, no, but like it anticipates everything you do because it's already seen you do it.
That's true.
It's
But
like
I'm on land, and sharks can't go on land, so
it doesn't matter, Alison. It's not chasing you. It's already caught you.
it's gone back in time to the one time I was in the ocean, and has.
You've already been eaten by time shark.
So have you then. We've all been eaten by the
We've all
time
been
shark.
eaten by the time shark.
But at least we know what the time shark's going to do with its powers. At least we can predict the time shark. We cannot predict the time dolphin.
I'm really worried that a time shark will eventually become like sentient enough that it will have like a huge undersea shark lair that's just filled with clocks. And you'll ask the time shark what the clocks are about, and it's just like, it's a metaphor. It seemed fun.
I like to imagine the time shark has like used its time powers to somehow like get a fake beard. So now it's like the shark is wearing like a robe and a beard.
But it's
Is it his
underwater,
time
so
life?
it's like a wet beard that's just like flopping around everywhere.
Exactly.
The robes are really heavy and soaking wet. They're made out of like wool, and they drag the time shark to the bottom of the sea.
It's like covered in algae and
Time shark
like
has not
barnacles.
It has not moved in a long time. But it no longer needs to
Yeah.
eat because the universe brings it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, time shark, you poor thing. Oh, God.
Oh dear.
I
I almost forgot what our actual story was there.
Oh, yeah, is there more story? Or is no, that's all of it,
No,
isn't
that's it. Monty died, and that's the
Okay,
end.
that's very sad.
Generally, when the main character dies, the story's over.
Not in Game
Unless
of
it's
Thrones.
supernatural and the main character comes back to life 100,000 times.
Or in Game of Thrones when he dies at the end of the first season, and then it just continues for 7 more seasons.
With new main characters.
Yeah, exactly. So
Fair enough.
I want to premiere a new segment. So
Okay.
previously
I'm excited.
I had my special segment where I read scathing pitchfork reviews of music. So I've recently discovered in The Guardian a series of articles called Inspect a Gadget, written by Rick Samada. That is my favourite shit that I've ever seen.
Well, I'm keen.
So he reviews innovative kitchen electronics.
All right.
So here's the headline. Kitchen Gadgets Review. The Egg Master. A horrifying, unholy affair. What is it? The Egg Master, £29.99, decent gadget or Amazon, is a vertical grill encased in a silicone housing. Ingredients poured into the plastic tube are heated by an embedded wraparound element. When ready, food spontaneously rises from the device. Why?
Ugh.
Why? Because there is no God.
Well, that's very apt. That's very...
And I'm going to try and describe this image that is on. So there's like a black cylinder, and out of it is rising a... It kind of looks like a fried egg that's been rolled up and is very, very wet, and it's incredibly flaccidly just, like, flopped over the side of this thing. It's like a tube of fried egg. It looks very unappetizing.
Yeah, I'm not particularly... yeah.
This week's gadget describes itself as a new way to prepare eggs, which is accurate in that the way chopping off your legs would be described as a new way to lose weight.
Well, that's true.
Let's start with the name. Its unsettling taint of S&M, an overtone consistent with the design. In hot pink and...
You know, I was going to point that out, but I'm kind of like...
Yeah.
In a certain household right now.
That's true.
So I'll allow you to point that out.
In hot pink and stippled black rubber, Eggmaster's exterior
screams... Oh no,
screams...
why the colour scheme?
Eggmaster's exterior screams cut price mail order adult toy.
It really does.
Its funneled hole suggests terrible uses. And it has a traffic light on it for some reason.
It cooks. It heats up inside.
Spray...
Oh no.
Yeah, it does. Spray...
Someone comes over, like you've got your house as an Airbnb,
oh my
and
God.
someone comes over and they find that and they think it's
Are you
an
suggesting
adult
someone
entertainment
spontaneously
system?
fucks the Eggmaster and burns their dick off?
Yes.
Alison, I go to be like, that wouldn't happen, but it definitely would and has happened.
It definitely would.
Someone
It would
has fucked an
happen.
Eggmaster, especially since it advises spray non-stick agent into container. The box advises, which definitely gets the tummy rumbling. As instructed, I crack 2 whole eggs into the hot tunnel, trying to ignore the gurgling sound from within. This is the best copy I've... This is the best
There's something
copy
very
I've ever
sexual
read.
about this egg
There
cooking
is.
description. It makes me very uncomfortable.
It's impossible to see what's going on, but it smells bad. I squint into the dark opening. A bulging yellow sack peers back at me. Minutes pass. The smell does not. Then, without warning, a flaccid, spongy log half jumps from the machine, writhing like an alien parasite in search of a host body. It's horrifying. I can't look at it, let alone eat it. To stall, I consult the badly photocopied... To stall, I consult the badly photocopied handbook, which suggests other delicious treat this baby is good for. Eggmaster egg crackers, which is mixed up crackers, egg, and cheese. Eggmaster egg dog, PB&J, peanut butter and jelly. Eggmaster and the tantalizing...
Peanut butter and jelly eggs.
With egg somehow? And the tantalizing Cuban Eggmaster. It's a dossier of culinary hate crimes. Barbecue pork egg has 2 ingredients: biscuit dough and 3 tablespoons of pre-cooked pork. What the fuck?
What is that? What makes that barbecue?
Nervously, I try the sulfuric, sweating egg mess before me. The taste is not the best. As I dry heave into the sink, I try to remember if I read about this machine in the Book of Revelations. Why is it in the world? Who created it? Maybe no one. Perhaps
The
soon.
same person who created this was the person who took Monty from our world.
And then in the best fucking sentence I've ever read, there's a paragraph that says, redeeming features. It's quite space efficient, being so dense with evil.
Oh, I love this.
The box contains 3 wooden skewers to defend yourself from your food, and a pipe cleaner to swab the device, although no holy water to soak it in. So, I think I'm going to intermittently read some of these Inspector Gadget articles, because they're the best shit. I love this guy's writing, and I want more people to know about it. It's the funniest thing I've ever read.
This is beautiful. This is
and
like
also
some
I think-
legit humorous content.
I know, and I didn't even have to come up with it. I just found
You
someone,
didn't even
someone
have to
else
find
did.
the humour. Someone else has made it funny.
Someone else did it. And we also get to hear about horrifying kitchen crimes, which I think is
now,
always good.
the rest of our podcast for the rest of existence should we just read other people's comedy and we don't do anything funny ourselves. It'll be like some of those YouTube channels that literally just show clips of other funny videos and somehow get millions of views and earn money.
We joke because I watch a lot of those. Well, our normal formula is like take a not funny article and make it funny. And I was like, why don't we just cut out the middleman? Fuck it.
Yeah, why don't we just get someone else's work, someone else's labour?
We've been off our game for a couple of weeks, so we need to have someone help us ease back into the
exactly.
The
we haven't been here last week. I'm quite heat delirious, so it's perfect.
Exactly. Do you have a story for us?
Can I do a little story?
Do it.
Now, this one's the crime story that I alluded to earlier. I teased earlier. And look, I really wanted to share this one because it is very much back to our roots, you know.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's from Dubbo, local news, the Dubbo Daily Liberal, and there is no journalist's byline attached to this, but that's okay. This is the headline. Laser-pointing Dubbo woman who was impersonated police was having fun.
Wait, what? That's so confusing.
Laser-pointing Dubbo woman who impersonated police was having fun.
I'm glad she was having fun. I don't know what she did.
I'm glad she was having a good time. Well, she was using a laser pointer and impersonating police.
Like, I'm going to let you get on with the article because I have so many questions.
Such as?
Was she, like, dressed up as a police and then using a laser pointer? Or was she pointing a laser at stuff and saying, it's the police? As though that's something the police do.
No, it might be even better. She was actually doing. So it says, a 49-year-old Dubbo woman has been found guilty of impersonating police and using a laser pointer in a public place.
Oh, fuck, that is illegal.
Yeah, it is.
Shit. Which
isn't ideal. But I wonder how strong this laser pointer would have been that they actually charged her for it. Daniel Therese Emery of Brooks Avenue was caught using the pointer at about 2 a.m. on January 14. According to... By the way, she was charged recently, May 6th, so this is relevant. But that was when she was caught in the horrible act of using a laser pointer.
It's pretty evil.
It's pretty awful. According to police fact documents presented in Dubbo local court, a member of the public recorded Emery using the laser pointer at a Janali Road lookout. Emery flailed the intense blue beam about, still skywards to establish if unknown parties could see the laser beam, police said. This is very...
So she pointed a laser pointer up. What an evil criminal this woman is.
She pointed a laser pointer off a lookout to see if someone could see it.
Can I say, if your plane gets a laser pointed at it and then crashes because of that, that's on the fucking plane. Like, you should be able to... the plane should be able to withstand a dot.
Yeah. But maybe it won't withstand, like, the cats that are, like, chasing after the dot and they were, like, flying into space to, like, knock down the
cats. They just launch at the plane. Get all munched up. Oh, no.
I just like police descriptions of things trying to make it seem like a serious thing.
That's so innocent. That's something
She
I've
flailed
done.
the intense blue beam about, still skywards.
She pointed a torch up, is what she did.
But wait, there's more to her crime.
Okay.
When Emery was approached about the incident, police said they saw a vehicle that had a black bar with 12 LED light bulbs fitted onto it. When switched on, it displayed red and blue warning lights, police said.
That's so fucking good.
The light bar, when activated, impersonates warning lights fitted to New South Wales police vehicles.
Do you think that the police go to, like, a kid's birthday party and see a kid driving around in, like, a little go-kart with lights on it, and they're just like, you're under fucking arrest? And then they see another kid who's shining a torch at someone, and it's like, that's assault, that's a crime.
Exactly. Or they go to, like, someone's, like, hen's night, and they've got a police-themed stripper. And they just like
criminal crime.
hiding in the bushes, waiting for him to like burst in and say you're under arrest, and then pretend and then the real police burst in and arrest him for pretending to be a police officer.
I was thinking he steps out from behind the curtain, tears out his trousers, and he's at like 3 different gunpoints the moment that he does it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking about someone playing Spotlight and how fun it would be, and I say fun loosely, to be like at a lookout and play Spotlight with the planes. To be like, so you planes, just tweet earlier in the day, planes flying above Armadale, please try to hide, because I'm going to be playing Spotlight with you. And you just kind
and then all the pilots get on board, and they're like dipping and diving and going behind clouds.
They're doing like mad stunts while I'm just shining my laser pointer around this guy trying to find the planes. It's so
and then you're
innocent.
like, guys, this is unfair.
And then I get arrested.
Yeah, you get arrested.
But the people on the planes got a really fun roller coaster ride out of
they
it. They
did. Some of them threw up everywhere, and like the oxygen masks came down.
Yeah, don't go inside.
But at least
that
they had a
plane.
new experience. it's not
real
a good
nasty.
smell.
It's real nasty, isn't it?
So this woman has the police lights attached to the roof of her car, and this is her excuse. Emery told police she only used it on friends. I drove up behind them and turned it on, just having fun, scaring them with police
so
lights.
Mean. That's the worst thing. Don't do that. That's awful.
She told that to police before she was charged with using a laser pointer in a public place and impersonating a police officer.
These are the 2 smallest crimes I've ever heard of. That's like stealing a single minty.
The next sentence alludes to the fact that she may have a previous criminal record, because it says in court, Emery's legal representative said her client had almost no criminal record when pleading for a lenient sentence. What was her previous crime? Like jaywalking or something?
She only killed 2 people, but they were.
There was almost no. She's never impersonated a police officer before.
But no one likes
Last time
those
when
people.
she killed those people, she was impersonating a doctor. So it's quite a different thing this time.
A doctor for one of them and a fireman for the other one, both of which are legal.
She was dressed like, the doctor. Not the doctor. She was dressed like the fireman from Paw Patrol. So she was dressed like a dog, dressing like a fireman. And it was a whole thing. It was a whole fetish thing, I assume.
She should have said her car was a citizen's ambulance. So that she just drives around and finds injured people and throws them in the trunk and then drives them to the hospital. And then charges them $200 for the
I like how at this moment, though, when she was shining the blue beam and some narc ratted her out to police, the police came and they saw that her car had police sirens on it. And they were like, hey, what is that for? And she's like, oh, yeah, I used it to prank my friends.
Here's a question.
Weird crime.
I'm going to assume that the police weren't, chilling at the lookout. So she must have been pointing that laser pointer at the sky for a long fucking time. And that fun factor has got to run out.
See it?
That fun
Maybe
factor
she was
has got
trying to
run
see if,
out
the Earth
fast.
was flat. She's probably a flat earther.
Well, then
and she was trying to prove the Earth was flat.
Point it across.
She's not a flat earther. She believes the Earth is a globe. But we're not on the outside of the globe. We're on the inside of the globe.
Oh, fuck. So she's pointing it at the
trying
other
to
end
point
of the
it
globe.
She was trying to point it to another country on the other surface of the globe.
She's pointing at England, which is on the opposite end of the Dyson sphere that is the Earth.
Yeah. So she was like, she called her mate in England and was like, can you see the torch that I'm shining on you? To try and prove or disprove her new theory.
And they said, it's 1 a.m, please fuck off.
Please, Therese, not Therese, what's her name? I forgot her name. Oh yeah, please Danielle, can you stop this? Why do you always do this? And also, can you stop chasing my car with your police lights on it? It's really getting too much.
Danielle, you brought your police lights all the way to England. It seems like overkill. How did you get them through customs?
Can you stop?
Can I give you one final story that's also a crime story?
I love crime. Let's go.
So this is from Yahoo News. And the headline is, Actually, you know what? I'm just going to skip the headline. I can't find any writer attached to this, but anyway. A woman allegedly petted a dog and washed a family's dishes during a bizarre break and enter.
All right.
Chanine Ewing is accused of sneaking into a home in Hamden in the US state of Ohio on May 6th and performing the strange act before leaving, police said in a statement.
I'm sorry, that's all she did.
Yep.
I mean, breaking into a house to pet a dog is a very relatable thing, and I feel like I might do that at some point in my future.
Deputies arrived and spoke with an individual who stated a female came into the residence through the back door, sat down on the couch and began to pet the family dog, washed the dishes, and then left the residence, the statement said.
Why?
It's confusing because, like, it sounds very funny. If someone did that at my house, that's some paranormal activity shit. And I'm, like, terrified.
It would be very concerning.
I feel like that's much scarier.
Yeah, if they, like, put the gun to your head and said, I'm going to steal your money or you're going to die, I'd probably be like, oh, this is a normal occurrence to happen.
Yeah, like, I know
if someone
what's
broke
happening.
into my house and then started cleaning up and then left, I would feel a little bit spooked.
If someone's washing my dishes in my house that I haven't let in and I go up to them and say, what are you doing? And then they just walk out. That's so much worse. Because what did they do?
That's very spooky. Yeah. Who knows what they've done?
So she was under the influence of narcotics, or at least appeared to be, which, like, makes sense.
Well, that kind of explains a little bit of the behaviour.
Yeah. But I just wanted to bring that one up because I think that we can all... Here's what I'm trying to say. If someone breaks into your house, don't assume that they're there to do harm. They might be just there to do your dishes and hang out with a cool dog.
And pat your dog.
Yeah.
And also, if you shine a laser pointer at them, that makes you the criminal in that situation.
Yes, that's very true, which is super cool. If you set an alarm off, that's very close to a police siren, so that is impersonating the police.
Yeah, so you may be arrested in the great city of Dubbo.
Every time my alarm goes off in the morning, the police come to my house and say that I'm impersonating a police officer.
Can I just say this last thing, actually? I just noticed that for the article that I was just reading, the read also that it suggests says, kebab thief led Dubbo police on chase that involved dangerous dog bite.
What?
I'm intrigued
a
by
dangerous
this.
dog bite. That's so specific. That firstly, it implies like that the dog bite did not kill the person, but it could have.
Yeah.
It was very nearly a bad dog bite. Kebab thief. What a boss.
I clicked on it and this sentence popped up. So I'm going to read from this. This is what a Woolworths staff member said. You have got my meat. It's under your shirt.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll leave the rest to your imagination.
The correct response to that is, oh yeah, there's a lot of meat under this shirt. Because that's not sexual. It's just unpleasant.
Yeah. It's just... Yeah,
it just
a
means
little
you're
bit
built.
disturbing.
Yeah.
It makes you uncomfortable.
Exactly. I had something funny to say and I forgot what it was. So do we want to wrap up?
Let's wrap up.
Thank you for listening to this wonderful show. That was self-congratulatory. Thank you for listening to this adequate
Thank you for listening to this,
this show that exists.
The show.
You are wonderful for doing it.
I appreciate it.
And
thanks to Anna for sending me through a story that I didn't use this week. I'll probably use it next week.
Oh yeah, did anyone send me any of the ones I used? Marianne might have sent me one of them. Statistically, Marianne probably sent me one of them.
Statistically, Marianne probably sent all of the stories to both of us.
That's true. One of them I found on Twitter, and one of them I found just on a website that I read anyway.
Well, fair enough.
So, and this is going to be a huge surprise to listeners who've been listening to the podcast recently. I don't have a final pun because Daddy don't like final puns, apparently.
Yeah, well, that's okay. But we may have a new Prime Minister by the time this is released, so that's also a very interesting, exciting moment.
It's been an exciting couple of weeks. New newspaper daddy, new Prime Minister,
Maybe
new national album coming out. There's so much cool shit going on. Game of Thrones is ending fucking finally.
I'm hot, temperature-wise.
Alison's hot physically, and I mean that like in terms of degrees.
Yeah, in terms of Celsius.
Celsius degrees. But not Fahrenheit degrees, weirdly.
Yeah, we don't use Fahrenheit here.
So, yeah, basically, thank you for listening. And if anyone has any fun ideas for things that we can do instead of puns at the end until Daddy gets his shit together, visit...
until Daddy gets a new set of puns.
If you guys want to go to daddysnews.com and just sort of, like, click the send message to Daddy button and say, can you please put more puns in your newspapers, I would genuinely really appreciate that. And I also want to see if we have that kind of influence. So please do that.
It's like, my friend makes a podcast and they said, please put more puns in, so you should put more puns in. Thank you very much.
What I actually want you to do is write this exact sentence. Daddy, give me more puns, please, Daddy. I need puns in my newspapers, Daddy. Daddy, please. So if you want to just write out that sentence, and every time you say Daddy,
just go on and type that out. Yeah.
Every time the word Daddy comes up, you need to put like a ... ellipsis after it, so it needs to be elongated. Like, Daddy, please.
No.
That can be our new sign-off, is Daddy, please.
Oh dear, that can be your sign-off. My sign-off will be logging out of
hell,
whatever the FaceTime is, before we get to that point.
All right, thanks for listening. Thanks, Daddy, please. Good night, Daddy.
Oh.